New trouble for Michael Avenatti. He's the lawyer who became famous for taking on President Trump by representing porn star Stormy Daniels. He's now been arrested, charged with extortion in one case, bank and wire fraud in another. Pretty dramatic fall. Paula Ferris here with the details. Good morning, Paula.
Really is a dramatic fall. Good morning to you, George. Good morning, everyone. Two separate cases, one here in New York, another in California. Both carry severe penalties and decades of jail time if convicted. Overnight, Michael Avenatti defiant.
I am highly confident that when all of the evidence is laid bare in connection with these cases, when it is all known, when due process occurs, that I will be fully exonerated and justice will be done.
The celebrity attorney speaking after appearing in federal court, facing charges of trying to extort Nike for millions.
The charges are based on Avenatti's scheme to extract more than $20 million in payments from a public company.
Prosecutors say it happened quickly. Last week, Avenatti brazenly confronted Nike lawyers after a client of his, an amateur basketball coach, lost a contract with the company.
Avenatti repeatedly pressured the company to agree to pay or risk having Avenatti hold a press conference that he claimed would dramatically drive down the stock price of the company and its market value.
Authorities say Avenatti intended to divulge what he called damaging information, claiming that Nike illegally paid high school basketball players and their families. In a wiretapped call, Avenatti warning Nike, "I'm not expletive around," adding, "I'm not continuing to play games. You guys know enough now to know you've got a serious problem, and it's worth more in exposure to me to just blow the lid on this thing." The tough-talking attorney rose to public consciousness as Stormy Daniels' crusader against Donald Trump. And at one point, he even planned on running for president, a meteoric rise and potential fall. The alleged co-conspirator in this case is reported to be another big-time Hollywood attorney, Mark Geragos, who has defended the likes of Michael Jackson to Jussie Smollett and has represented Nike's brand ambassador Colin Kaepernick. Geragos was not indicted and has not been charged. On Monday, Avenatti announcing he would hold a press conference, tweeting that he would soon expose a basketball scandal perpetrated by Nike. Just 15 minutes after that tweet, he was arrested. And this is not the extent of his troubles. In California, Avenatti faces charges of bank and wire fraud. Prosecutors saying he embezzled a client's money in order to pay his own expenses and debts. Now, Avenatti was released on $300,000 bond. This morning, he is tweeting that the public will learn about Nike's cover-up and crimes and that he never attempted to extort the company. But you guys, prosecutors have Avenatti on a wiretap threatening to take $10 billion off Nike's market cap. And again, if convicted, serious trouble. The fraud charges carry a max of 50 years. Here in New York, the extortion charges 47 years.
Wow. Long time. Thank you, Paula. Let's bring in Dan Abrams for more on this. Now, the Nike case, more sensational, but it's actually that California fraud case that could cause more trouble.
Right, because he's got a more obvious defense in the Nike case, which is, I'm just talking the way tough lawyers do. We make threats. We say you don't settle and you're going to get this or that, etc. Not saying it's a winning defense, but it's a defense. It is much harder to defend against things like wire fraud and bank fraud, tax issues. Why? Because they have documents. They have paperwork. And as a result, it's not a sort of ambiguity as to what did I say versus what didn't I say. So if I'm Michael Avenatti right now, I am much more concerned about that California case than I am about the New York case.
You say lawyers talk tough all the time. Where do you think he may have crossed the line in the Nike case?
Well, look, it comes to the nuance, right? Because it's at levels of the conversation, right? At one point he says, well, you know, you should hire myself, and it appears Mark Geragos, to do an internal investigation for $15+ million. And they say, well, we've never heard of anyone doing an investigation for over $10 million. And he says, well, you know, fine, then let's just call it whatever, $22.5 million and call it a day. And so really what prosecutors are saying is that was all a charade. He wasn't really talking about the need to do an investigation. He was talking about a payoff. And it's that follow-up conversation, the prosecutors will say, adds validity to their argument.
You mentioned Mark Geragos. Of course, we've seen him on this program many times. Unnamed co-conspirator, but not charged.
Right. And this is just with regard to the New York case. You have to wonder, is he cooperating? Do they not have enough evidence against him? What is the issue there? But he definitely has not been charged.
Dan Abrams, thanks very much.